Hello, everyone. In this video, we're going to be factoring with a greater than 1. So this is not going to be taking the shortcut like we did up top. We are still going to use our headphones method. So I'm going to circle the number in the front of x squared, and I'm going to circle the number on the end. Now, whenever I say this, I don't just mean the very first number that you see. I mean the number in front of x squared and the constant on the end. So maybe I need to start saying that a little differently. But 6 times -10 is -60. And I want two factors of -60 that add to give me the number in the middle, which is -17. Factors of 60 are 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20, and 5 and 12. So we can either use 3 and 20 or 5 and 12 to get to -17. But since it is -60, that means I need a negative number and a positive number. I can't have two negatives. So I'm going to have to use -20 and +3. This will get me to -17. So a lot of people will like to say, oh, well, my factors are x minus 20 times x plus 3. And since there was a 6 in the front, I put a 6 in the front right there. But that is so wrong. Please do not do that. I'm writing it there so that you can see how not to do it. So let's just circle this, and we're going to put a big x through it. So do not do that. What you have to do instead is you're going to have to factor by grouping. So I'm going to rewrite this problem, 6x squared. And I'm going to rewrite -17x as -20x plus 3x. So let's make this -20x plus 3x. And then I'm going to rewrite my -10 here. Okay, now I have 4 terms and I can start factoring by grouping. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to group the first 2 terms together. Going to leave a space right here, and then I'm going to group the second 2 terms together. Okay, so I'm going to factor something out of the first 2. I have 6 and 20. 6 and 20 are both divisible by 2, so I'm going to pull out a 2. And they both have at least one x, so I'm going to pull out an x. All right, 6 divided by 2 is 3. X squared divided by x is x. Okay, and whenever you multiply these out, 2 times 3 is 6, x times x is x squared. You get back to this. -20 divided by 2 is -10, and then x divided by x, they would just go away. So let's close the parentheses. Something that a lot of people forget here is that whatever sign is in the middle, you need to go ahead and copy that down. So since there was a plus there, I'm going to move that down, make that a plus. And now I'm going to pull something out of these 2. 3 and 10 do not have any factors in common, but they do. They have the number 1 in common. So we're going to pull out a 1. And since we're dividing everything by 1, we're still just going to get 3x minus 10. You know that you did these problems correctly if you get the same thing inside of the parentheses. So we got 3x minus 10 in both of the parentheses. That means that we did this problem correctly. And that is one of your factors. So one of your factors is 3x minus 10. And your other factor is just the other 2 numbers that you see here. So it's going to be 2x plus 1. Okay, so we had 2x plus 1. And we also had 3x minus 10. Okay, let's try out another problem. So let's do problem number 2. Going to do the exact same thing that we did before, the headphones. Going to circle the number in front of x squared, circle the constant on the end, and multiply them together. 2 times 15 is going to give us +30. And I want 2 factors of 30 that add to give me the number in the middle, which is -11. Okay, so factors of 30 are 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, and 5 and 6. So we're going to be using 5 and 6 to get to -11. Since a negative times a negative is a positive, I can use -5 and -6. I'm going to write this here just so that you don't do it. Do not do this. This is not correct, okay? So please do not do this whenever you're working out these problems. All right, I'm going to mark through this. This is not correct. What we need to do instead is we need to rewrite -11 as -5x minus 6x, okay? So let's rewrite -11x as -5x minus 6x. So I'm rewriting my problem, 2x squared minus 5x minus 6x plus 15. And now we can do our factoring by grouping. So I'm going to group the first two terms together. Then I'm going to group the second two terms together, and then we're going to solve. Or sorry, not solve, we're going to factor some things out. So 2 and 5 are only divisible by 1, but we're not going to pull out a 1 just because there is something else that we can pull out. They both do have an x in them, so I'm just going to pull out an x. And then I'm going to write what's left over inside the parentheses. So I'm dividing out one of the x's. That means I'm basically just taking the x away from the 2x squared, and I'm taking the x away from the 5. So I'm going to get 2x minus 5. Then this is very important. Whatever sign is in the middle, you need to copy that down. So I'm going to bring down that minus. All right? So I'm pulling out a negative number. 6 and 15 are both divisible by 3. So I'm going to pull out a 3. And then I'm going to write what's left over inside of the parentheses. Negative 6x divided by negative 3 is going to be positive 2x. And positive 15 divided by negative 3 is going to be negative 5. So we did get the same thing inside of the parentheses. That means that we did this problem correctly. So one of our factors is going to be 2x minus 5. And our other factor is just going to be our other two numbers, which are, sorry, not numbers, terms, x minus 3. And I'll just draw a little smiley face whenever we get to that matching part, because it's just so satisfying. So 2x minus 5, and then our other one was x minus 3. Okay, let's do 2 more. All right, so our next one, and feel free to pause and you can try one yourself and then check your work. So doing my headphones, 5 times 8 is going to give us 40. And I want 2 factors of 40 that adds give me the number in the middle, which is positive 13. Factors of 40 are 1 and 40, 2 and 20, and 5 and 8. So we're going to be using 5 and 8 to get to 13, and you can just simply add those together. We're not going to do this, and I am going to write it every single time just so that you do not do that, okay? That is not correct. So let's just draw a big thing here. Don't do that. All right, and instead we're going to factor by grouping. So I'm going to leave my 5x squared, and I'm going to rewrite positive 13x as 5x plus 8x. Okay, this one actually works out pretty. So I'm going to group the first two terms together and group the second two together. In the first two, I can see that they both have the number 5. So I can pull out a 5, and they both have x's. So I can pull out an x. Whenever I take away the 5 and I take away one of the x's, I'm just going to be left with x. And anything divided by itself is 1, so it's going to be x plus 1. Don't forget to bring down the sign that's in the middle. So this was a plus. I'm going to bring that down. And both of these terms have an 8, so I'm going to pull out an 8. Whenever you divide 8x by 8, you're going to get x, and 8 divided by 8 is 1. You know you did the right thing whenever you get the same factor inside of the parentheses. So we have x plus 1 inside of the parentheses. That's one of our factors. And then another one of our factors is 5x plus 8. Okay, so x plus 1, 5x plus 8. All right, and we're going to do one last problem. Okay, one last one. So I'm going to circle the number in front of x squared, circle the constant term on the end, and we're going to do 5 times negative 27. If you don't know what 5 times negative 27 is, that's okay. We can use Desmos. So let's go to Desmos, and we're going to do 5 times negative 27. 5 times negative 27 is negative 135. And figuring out what two terms add to give us negative 6 is a little bit challenging. So let's try to use our resources here. If you want to figure out all the factors of a number, you can do the number, so negative 135, divided by x. And whenever you look at the table, you will see all the factors of negative 135. So I'm going to click this little settings button, and I'm going to click the table. I want these two numbers to add to give me -6. So looking here, none of these are actually whole numbers yet. So let's try some more. -3 and 45, that's not going to get us to -6. What about -5 and 27? Nope. What about 6, 7, 8, 9? All right, and -9 and +15 is going to give us +6. So let's try doing -15 and see if we will, or +9 and see if that works. Okay, so +9 plus -15 is going to give us -6, and that is going to be our factor there. Yes, our factor. So you can use this method, and whenever I'm using this method, I do like to sort of guess and check because you can't see the whole table like you would in a calculator. So you'll just have to type those numbers in manually. Okay, you can also look here at this and you can like drag the points. So if I click on the graph, I don't know if it's going to let me because I'm not in the table. Usually you can drag along here and see what the points are. But anyway, yes, you can use this resource. So let me show you what it looks like whenever I am not in the table. Okay, and here's what I was saying. You can actually drag and see like, okay, when is it getting close to equaling 6 together? So, and you can see 15 and -9 there. You can also go in this direction and you can see 15 and +9. So you can look this way and try to figure out the factors by looking at the graph, or you can use the table. But we are going to use -15 and +9. So don't do this. Don't go 5 times x minus 15 times x plus 9 because that is not correct. Instead, we're going to rewrite -6 as -15 plus 9. So let's rewrite it. And we're going to factor by grouping. Okay, we're going to pull out a 5 and an x. We're going to be left over with x minus 3. Bring down the sign. We can pull out a 9, and we're going to be left with x minus 3. So we did get the same number inside of the parentheses. We can draw our smiley face now. And we can write our final answer. X minus 3, 5x plus 9. Okay, in the next video, it's going to be very, very short. I'm going to show you that it doesn't matter which way you group these. And we're just going to do the first example again. So I'm just talking about these two terms here. You could put 3x first, and you could swap those, and you'll get to the same answer. You'll just have a different grouping. So in the next video, you can watch how you can have two different groups, and you'll get the same answer. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.